Ciao and welcome to this new tutorial. Today I want to show you a way to overcome polyphony voice limitation into the SP. By listening this pattern, you may not notice anything strange, but if we take a look on, for instance, this pad here, which is not playing, but we have placed a trick here. Now we have selected the pad, so it takes priority, and now came back again. This is called voice stealing. Basically, we are hitting the limit of maximum voices available, which, by the way, are 32 in total. Now, there is a simple but long way and pretty much tedious way to overcome this limit. By a technical perspective, every stereo pad pick 2 voices and a mono pad pick 1 voice. So the trick here is to make all those samples mono and then use the classic technique called Haas effects to regain the stereo field. But okay, let's go with a certain order. The first thing we want to do is to extract the samples we want to convert in mono from the SP to the computer, because we don't have the ability to make a sample real mono into the SP directly. We have the pan option, but this is not acting on the sample itself, but it is acting on the mixer, so on the audio output. And even if you switch to mono, it mono only the output, not the sample itself. So the voice stealing is always there, and you steal 2 voices instead of 1. So for this part, I will give a demonstration on how to extract and make a sample mono with a freeware program. I will do on Mac, but I think it's the same on Windows, or you can easily find somewhere over the internet some similar program that can convert audio. So let's go to the computer and make those samples mono. Now we are on the SP app, and we need this app because we have to export the pads or the patterns. It depends. Usually you want to export the pattern because this is a work that you want to do when your session is pretty much complete. Because one simple reason: if we re-upload the mono samples into the SP and we are adding some of the effects and then resample, we are resampling mono to stereo, because the effect section resample always in stereo. So this means that we can't touch anymore if we want to save some voices. So we want to export the pattern, and it's easy as that. You can click on the pattern section and then pick your pattern and leave it there. It took quite a bit. It depends on how long is your pattern and how much pads you want. So I show you a simple example, and I have converted to mono all this session, and it's here. So I show you with 1 sample, and you can do the same for every sample. Switch to the File tab, pick the sample you want, or all the samples. Yep. Now it's exported. One thing to point out is that if you want to export the whole pattern, you have to export in multipad mode so you can have stems. Now let's open the folder, and this is the export. We have to use the MediaHuman audio converter. This is a free tool on Mac. I don't know if there is the same on Windows, but for sure there are some similar programs that you can use. And now we have to select the output, the option for the output. If you don't have this mono 48 kHz, you can personalize and check on channel mono and frequency 48. So, close. Now, that means that we are converting this sample, which is stereo, into a mono sample on the same frequency. Click this button here to do the conversion. And here we go. This is the mono, this is the stereo. Nice. So all we have to do now is to simply pick our sample list, in this case one sample only, but done, as I said, with this one. These are all mono sample, and drop into our ESP. Now we can came back to the ESP, and I will explain you the technique to save voices but retaining the stereo field. Back to the ESP. Now we have this is the stereo session, and this is the mono. This is how it sounds in mono. But you can see that we are triggering all the samples now. We have the problem of the stereo field, of course, but we can solve that. The solution is called the Haas effect, and is a really classic technique and also simple technique. Let's say we want to take this sample here, which is this one. Let's mute some of the stuff that is going on. These are really a demo pattern. I just throw in there some samples. Now we have to copy twice. I suggest you to, for now, don't delete the original one, just because if you make some mistakes or stuff like that, you have the original one and you don't have to extract again and do the same process over and over again. Or you can save the mono samples into the SD card, so you have always there. But by the way, this is the technique. We have to copy twice the sample. Now, one sample panned hard on the left and the other one hard on the right. Oh, no. Nice. Okay, now we have to pad link the two. And now the trick is to zoom at sample level on one of the two samples and simply delay a little bit the start point. We are on sample level, so you won't notice anything strange on the length of the loop, but check this. Nice. Now we have to resample, but you the difference. So let's resample. Nice. And we have our, we can exchange, we have our stereo sample, but the ESP thinks is still in mono, so you are occupying one voice only instead of two. And there's a technical explanation for that, because this is not a true stereo. This is technically called dual mono. And again, the ESP is thinking that this is mono. And it's right, because again, this is dual mono and not true stereo. But the effect is the stereo field intact. We can do for every sample we want. For some sample, I don't want to go stereo. For instance, for the kick or some kind of basses, I don't want to go stereo. But you can continue for every sample. Now let's this one here. Let's work with this one. So copy twice. Now the first one, hard left, and the other one hard right. It's always a little bit difficult, but okay. Now again, let's pad link the two, and we are zooming on sample level on the maximum. You can clearly hear that the stereo field is changing, obviously, as I'm delaying one of the two samples. Let's resample. And this is it. Now let's exchange, copy, delete those three. Let's try with the bass, which sometimes is good to have stereo basses. I like them so much. So, first thing, again, it's a little bit tedious. Nice. So, pad link at sample level. In the case of this bass, you can clearly hear that at certain point is not totally centered. Here is a little bit shift, but if we delayed a little bit more the sample, we are centering the image. Nice. Let's resample. Cool. Let's exchange these two pads and let's hear. That's another story, right? Yeah, this is the technique. You can apply this technique to all the sample or the sample you want to save some polyphony voices. So you have more smooth sequence and you don't have voice stealing, which sometimes can be quite cool, but is not that controllable, and it's better to have something that is a little bit smoother, right? So, to recap, you have to extract the samples from the SP, make them mono, then reload the mono samples into the SP itself, make your pattern again, your sequence again. It's quite easy because they are all stems, so it's one trig at the beginning of the pattern. And then you have to copy your sample twice, pan one of those hard left and the other one hard right, pad link the two, and simply delay the start point at sample level of one of the two pads. Easy as that. Then you can resample, and you have your dual mono sample, which can have the stereo field, but it's still mono, so count one in the voice limit polyphony. So this is it for this quick tutorial. I hope this technique will be useful for you. And if you need samples or services for your music and tracks, just check my Gumroad page. I have my new music theory for electronic musician guide out on the channel, so check it out. Thank you as always for watching, and see you next time. Ciao!